Well, the center has now filed an affidavit in the Supreme Court on its plans to deport Rohingya Muslims. In the affidavit, the government has stated that as per law, it is completely illegal for the Rohingya immigrants to stay in India, and has now submitted their continuance in India would have serious national security ramifications and has serious security threats. The affidavit also says that specific intel inputs have established a link between some unauthorized Rohingyas and terror groups. It also says that they have been indulging in some anti-national activities for some time now. The matter will now be heard on October 3. The affidavit comes after the apex court had asked the government to file the affidavit on the plea submitted by 2 Rohingya immigrants who are registered as refugees under the United Nations High Commission of Refugees. This petition filed by the Rohingya refugees is being argued by the senior advocate Fali S. Nariman and Kapil Sibal.
Today, the central government has finally filed an affidavit after filing and withdrawing the earlier one on the Rohingya refugees case. In that affidavit, they have mainly said that this is a purely executive matter to be decided by the government and that the court has no business to interfere in such matters of what they call illegal immigrants or illegal migrants. And therefore they say that the court should not entertain this petition.
होम मिनिस्ट्री को जो भी एफिडेविट फाइल करनी थी वह एफिडेविट के बारे में आप सबको जानकारी है। अब जो भी फैसला होना है वह कोर्ट के द्वारा फैसला होना है। मैं समझता हूं कि हम सबको कोर्ट के फैसले की प्रतीक्षा करनी चाहिए।
A quick recap on the story. The center government again filing an affidavit in the Supreme Court on its plans about deporting the Rohingya Muslims. Now, it says that the government has stated that as per law, it is illegal for the Rohingya immigrants to stay in India and that they have submitted that their continuance in India would have some serious national security ramifications and serious security threats. The affidavit also says that specific intelligent inputs have established a link between some unauthorized Rohingyas and terror groups. It also says that they have been indulging in some anti-national activities for some time now. The matter will be on hold until October the 3rd. The affidavit comes after the apex court had asked the government to file the affidavit on the plea submitted by the 2 Rohingya immigrants who are registered as refugees under the United Nations High Commission of Refugees. All right, let's go straight to our correspondent, Raghavendra Rao, joining us with the very latest on this story. Raghavendra, how serious are these implications about the Rohingyas here in India?
Archit, the centre has once again reiterated its stance that Rohingyas indeed pose a security threat to India. The fact that around 40,000 Rohingyas are living in various Indian cities at the moment in places like Jammu and Delhi and some areas of the national capital region. The centre has been maintaining that security is of paramount importance for any sovereign state and that these Rohingyas could pose a serious security threat to India, and that is why the centre wishes to deport them back to Myanmar. Now, the Indian government has been facing some degree of criticism from various quarters, including the United Nations human rights body, which recently criticized India for its decision to deport these Rohingyas back to Myanmar. But the Indian government has been maintaining that it is purely based on intelligence alerts and the kind of security details and analysis it has about the presence of these Rohingyas in India. Also, there are fears that some of these Rohingyas could be radicalized or could have already been radicalized by the Islamic State, and that could pose a major security challenge to India's sovereignty. Also, what we are hearing from the Supreme Court today is that the centre has apparently told the apex court that deporting the Rohingyas back to Myanmar is essentially a policy decision, and it's a move in which the courts should not really interfere.
Raghavendra, you know, what's also interesting about this is now that the matter will be pushed till October the 3rd, giving it some time. I mean, what position does this really put India in? On one hand, showing sympathy and empathy to the refugees, and on the other hand, really trying to deal and make sure that this doesn't become a breeding ground, perhaps, for terrorism on its own soil.
Yes, it's a very peculiar situation the Indian government finds itself in at the moment. You know, this situation where they are talking about deporting 40,000 Rohingyas back to Myanmar. Also, on the other hand, you know, responding to calls from Bangladesh wherein so many Rohingyas have crossed in from the Myanmar side and are living as refugees, India has been sending aid and relief material to Bangladesh for these Rohingya refugees who are crossing into Bangladesh daily in hordes. Now, it's a very peculiar situation because India has drawn some degree of international criticism also from the UN human rights body, saying that, deporting these people back to a country where they are being persecuted probably is not the right thing to do. But India is trying to maintain a fine balance here. It is helping out a neighbor, which is Bangladesh, in dealing with an influx of Rohingyas which are crossing into their territory in great numbers every single day. On the other hand, while doing that, India is maintaining its stance that those Rohingyas who have come to India during the past few months and years and are now settled here, it has, credible evidence to believe that these Rohingyas could indeed be a national security threat, and that is why India's stance has been that it would deport them back.
All right, Raghavendra Rai getting us the very latest on the Rohingya crisis here. Thank you for those updates.